Welcome back to Flash Fiction Fridays. I'm Teresa Garcia, or Amehana Arashi. I'm not certain what number we're on, so I will have to come back later and add the correct number to the podcast title. Today's offerings are all written by myself. I will be reading a few haiku before I read a dark flash fiction that I wrote. Not all of these poems are haiku. I apologize. Starlight Silver. A silver arch, starlight fur through sky, thudding feet, and then the passing sigh. A flit of falling fur, and then storm cat goes by. Snow. As the sky falls, the blanket spreads its white feathers on me. Mountain's cloak. Cold breeze blows down the mountain's cloak, stirring trees. Yukiona. Yukiona walks by the hut where he slept. Tears of ice fall. Lovecraftian haiku. What is dead dreams of endless night skies spreading the veil rent wide. And now tonight's feature. Poetry in his veins. Trigger warning, choice of deaths. The snow fell. That was what fell from his pen where he crabbed at his desk. Outside the chinked and patched walls, while the space heater clanked protests to hold back the chills seeping through, snowflakes ponderously circumscribed their dancing plummet to eventual ego death. Their corpses littered the ground. More words scratched into the flesh of the paper, bleeding into the exposed nerves of the long-dead tree. The coldness seeped into him once the heater issued a final clank and died. Still he continued. There was nothing else he could do. Someday they will bloom. He laid his pen down, the ink having run out halfway through the final period. No more pens were in the cabinet. No ink remained to fill the old quills either. The cold crept closer and ran hands up inside the thin layers he wore. All his worldly goods would hold her back no longer, and his only friends no longer had the magic to hold her out. Poetry could not flow to the paper without an ink. On the other hand, he did have ink. No one would be able to come until after the snowstorm was done, and even then they would need to dig their way into his cabin. With no more wood, nor any more kerosene, what they would find was already a foregone conclusion. He could control how they found him, though. Grimly, he found a letter opener and laid his favorite quill ready to fill. He had always said poetry flowed in his veins. For those that didn't catch it, there was a poem couched in this story. The snow fell. Their corpses littered the ground. Someday they will bloom. And that's the end of tonight's reading. I'll catch you next time on Flash Fiction Fridays. Until then, happy reading.